Well, thank you so much, Ivan Warinyoro there. I will be coming for Easter because clearly everything cool happens in Entebbe. Away from that, we get to have our Kickstarter this Good Friday morning. And our Kickstarter is very interesting. The plight of women in Uganda's film industry. Here to have this conversation with us is a guest. She's a wonderful, beautiful, intelligent lady who has been in the film industry for a long time. But in most recent years, she discovered that she has a predicament, a health predicament, and that in one way or another has affected the woman she is today. But hopefully at the end of this morning, you and I shall join hands to actually help her achieve the future dreams that she has. Born Esther Brenda Apolot in 1984. Today she joins us on Good Morning Uganda. On Morning at NTV. How are you, Esther?
I'm well, Priscilla. Thank you so much for having me.
Happy Good Friday?
Yes.
Yes. So I've noticed that you're born Esther, but you're calling yourself Esteri.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did that happen?
It's like we've been talking about it earlier, just a way for me to stand out as a performer and an artist, because we come from a country that loves the name Esther. So if everyone is called Esther, I don't know how to stand out from the crowd. So I chose Esteri.
Okay.
Just so I can stand out from the crowd.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. She went to Makerere University where she studied industrial art, and she actually majored in film, and she has gotten to be in nice films in Uganda. The first one that she was in is Scenes of Our Parents, which aired in 2008, and then she got to be in the stellar Queen of Katwe film in 2016. That's the film that all Ugandans were excited about because it had international superstars like Lupita Nyong'o. Do you have Lupita Nyong'o's number?
I wish.
It is plus what?
No, I don't.
Okay, so let's first talk about that role. How did you get into that role?
I auditioned like everyone else. It took about 2 to 3 months of auditioning. I had been on stage in New Orleans. I just come back to Kampala and I saw the poster saying auditioning for roles for this film from Disney. So I had already avoided so many roles in Kampala because for some reason I wasn't getting cast. For whatever reason, maybe too dark skinned.
You'd go for the auditions, but nothing would mature through.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
because that's a long stretch. 2008 and 2016, those are really 8 years.
I was doing stage more because it's more accommodative of a certain look. So I am a dark-skinned actress.
And we're more used to it here in Uganda.
Yes, yes. So I didn't get so many roles then, but I was happy to be on.
Did you say because you were a dark skin?
Yes.
So because you were a dark skin,
yes.
sometimes you were not able to be cast for the roles you auditioned for.
Yes.
Wow, that's a plight of a woman in the film industry. Okay.
So I went for this audition just because I hoped, maybe because it's an international role, maybe because I'm dark-skinned, it's more appreciated abroad. And indeed, I was maybe also cast because she was looking for a certain range of skin color. Maybe Lupita and all the other actresses look a certain way. And I feel like I just got lucky with this role. I don't think I was better than everyone else, but I just think maybe there was something about me physically, or maybe the spirit that I embodied that gave me the role, and eventually got me cast to play Sarah Katende in Queen Katwe.
Wow, that is wonderful. What was that experience like for you, and how did it later transform your life into you becoming a film producer today?
That, I think, is one of those pinch me moments that I've experienced in my life. Yes, I could not believe I had been cast. I could not believe I was on set with Lupita. I could not believe I was on set with David Oyelowo. I couldn't believe I was on set with Mira Naya. I couldn't believe I was being flown to South Africa to do this role. I couldn't believe I had a driver attached to me. I couldn't believe the kitchen was being given
cabin all to yourself.
Yes, stuff like that. And that's around the same time I also found out about this situation that we're talking about today. So it was a bittersweet, but from that experience, it transformed me into knowing that I can make my own films, I can tell my own stories and not sit around and wait for someone to cast me in their stories and their films. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, people out there are most interested in how exactly you got to fall in love with theater, with film, with just being on stage and dramatizing life.
I like to say it's my dad. I grew up in a home where my dad loved film, and he used to take us to the cinemas. I used to go and watch Titanic at the cinema. The first film I ever watched in cinema was called Spy Game. I don't even understand what the film was about.
The one for the kids?
No, Spy Game for Robert Redford and what's his name, the big actor now. I went to the cinema with my dad when it was still on Wilson Road. There was that old cinema.
Yes.
And that for me blew my mind, and it exposed me to a world that I didn't even know existed. And from that day, we always watched films on the weekends, on weekdays. It was something that my dad usually just encouraged us to do, and he loved to do. And that's how I fell in love with film.
And your first acting role was at what age?
My first acting role was always in school. I was always in dramas. I was always performing on stage. I was entertainment minister at school, entertainment minister at university for CCE. So it's always been like as if a purpose for me in life, but I'm just a performer.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. We get to have Esther Tewandeke joining us this morning, helping us to understand the plight of women in Uganda's film industry. But she has a plight of her own that she is carrying with her today, something she discovered in 2015. You went with your sister for just a actually you were escorting your sister for a medical checkup, and then the nurse told you, since you paid your money, why not have a full body checkup? And how did that turn out into you discovering your condition today?
Oh, I had a cyst, and I was seeing a gynecologist who said, go do a scan and let's see what's happening. And then the lady that was doing the scan said, you have paid your money, you might as well get your full money's worth. And she decided to scan all my organs, and that's when she noticed my kidneys were smaller than usual. And I remember her saying, I don't know what this means, but I think you need to see a doctor about it. And that's how I go through that gynecologist and got recommended to a renal specialist, and I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease in 2015.
Okay, all right. Before you got that diagnosis, in your earlier life, because of the nature of your work, film, acting, dancing, were there any things that you experienced, your body experienced, that were actually not supporting what you were doing?
Yeah, I used to get random dizzy spells that I didn't understand. I used to get weak, and I actually at some point just stopped dancing completely. I love dance. I performed a lot. I was actually in that video with Bobby Wine with Sing and Seven. I did that video with him, and I remember being cast as the love interest, but I wasn't originally there for the love interest. I was there to dance with Mosaic Kato, the salsa and stuff. And I had to give up dance because I was always dizzy and I was always anemic. That's one thing that stood out for me. I was always anemic. So I think that's some of the things that my body was trying to tell me, but I didn't understand then. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And that's the video we're looking at there, Madame Steady with the natural hair. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, your dance moves are really interesting. You'll maybe teach us someday when you're in better health. So today you are here battling with this kidney disease, and the doctor most recently told you that you might have to consider a kidney transplant. That is going to cost you an arm and a leg, $87,000 US. And I have been seeing campaign drives on social media. People, your friends and family, have been rallying their friends and family to be able to support you to come up with this amount of money for the kidney transplant that you need. $87,000 US. So far, they have collected $11,000 US. They have a balance of $76,000. Talk to us about your current state of health and how urgent this is for you to actually get this money and have this transplant done earlier.
Yeah.
It's okay.
it's hard.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of support. I'm really exhausted all the time. I don't have appetite. I've lost a lot of weight. I think I've gained about 2 kilos, so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
How many times you find a woman grateful to gain weight?
That's the rare occasion.
Yeah,
yes,
so I'm grateful that I've gained a bit of weight, but I don't have appetite. My pressure is high most of the time. I am anemic and I hallucinate. I don't sleep, palpitations. It's been really hard for me. I haven't worked since October. I love film, I love making films, but I can't really work now. So I'm mostly at home sleeping or trying to eat. Food doesn't taste like anything. So it's been tough for me, but I'm so grateful that I have a lot of support from my family and friends. Yeah. My husband is constantly there. I'm living with a friend, her husband and her babies. Thank you so much, Sarah, for your love. It's been a lot of people holding me up and just reminding me that it's going to be okay, but it's not.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard to picture you being okay. We want to help you. There are people who want to help you. How can we help you, Esteri?
By helping donate whatever money, whatever little you can towards this campaign. It goes a long way. I've had strangers call up my friend and say, I have 5,000 shillings for Esther, and that money is everything for me. That money is helping me pay medical bills right now. It's not, the chunk of 87 is not what I need for the whole surgery. The surgery is less than that, but this money is helping me take care of paying for
the pre and post.
Yes, exactly. So any amount of money from anyone goes a long way to helping me make this possible.
Joining her for the same equal conversation is a wonderful, appealing, screen-stealing lady called Lydia Navagala, who is a dancer and she's also a choreographer. Good morning to you, Lillian.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, you are right. Screen stealer. That's what they call it in films. You see a person, you're like, wow. Okay, all right. So I'll engage with you. We've been having a conversation here with Esteri, and she informs me that you two danced together at some point in life. How did you meet?
Now, with Esteri, she was in Latin flavor. Okay. Latin. So she's one of the first people I met. I was a big girl then. Very tomboyish, so I wanted to tap into my feminine side.
Yeah.
So I see her on stage dancing with Sam Evander. I'm like, I want to dance like that lady. So I start going for the rehearsals and classes, and voila, I start dancing with Esther. And also part of Umoja Culture Flying Carpet.
Yes.
She was our dance teacher and choreographer. So that is our relationship.
So we add teacher to this list of Esteri Tevandeke, actor, film producer, teacher, choreographer, one who transforms tomboys into ladies. Okay, so Lillian, tell us more about yourself and what have you been in?
My name is Navagala Lillian Maximilian. I am Ugandan. Definitely, I'm from Buganda, Central. I'm a dancer, choreographer. Basically, people are saying film director. I don't know, I'm still getting there, learning from them. And I'm also a creative artist because I do so many things outside dance. I'm a stylist, I do makeup. I'm not doing it so much like I used to because of time. And also I do creative works. I have a jewelry brand. And
your own jewelry brand?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. It's still in the making. I don't want to talk about it so much right now.
Yes. It's an innovation.
It's an innovation.
Right.
Yes, it's in the pipeline. So that is what I do. But I also love working within other art forms.
Yes.
It's very important for me because it helps me evolve, and it also helps me figure out a way of growing growing in dance and learning from these art forms and bring back the knowledge to dance helps us grow the industry even more.
Okay, all right. Now, speaking of growth of the industry, earlier on we're having a conversation and I realized that you've actually grown from just a dancer who's enjoying their passion, and now you're converting that into sort of cinematography.
Yes.
How did that light come to you?
Now, it started with dance theater. Dance theater is for those who don't understand dance theater is when you create a piece and it has a meaning behind it.
Of course, what you're seeing on your screen there is the lady next to me, Lilia Nevaga. She's expressing herself through dance.
Yes.
Ah, the beautiful smile.
Thank you. So I started with dance theater, and we tell stories through movement. It really takes a while to create these pieces. It takes about 3 months, and you have to have a storyline, a concept note, everything. So it helps you develop a piece that creates an understanding when someone watches it. So from this, before COVID, I had a piece called Nambi, African Shield Maidens, and I was like, I experimented with a friend of mine. He's called Akimziwa. I told him, you know what, why don't we shoot this thing somewhere? In Jinja, there's this abandoned building, but it looks very beautiful. It looks like an ancient palace. So we shot. Yeah. And it looked amazing. I was like, you know what, let's just not do a video. Let's do chapters, 3 chapters. Like, okay.
3 chapters in video format?
Yes, in video format. So now the piece was from stage to now visual, to now film. So he brought his knowledge of cinematography, film. He was also a dancer before. So he kind of understood how to, we were experimenting how to interpret what I was experiencing. So I collaborated with poets, and I told them, you know what, watch this thing, tell me what you think. I won't tell you what it's about, just write what you feel and what you think. So that's how we got epigraphers. Kagai Ngobi, Ivan Musoke, Kautha Lukwanzi, and then we premiered it during COVID. Okay. And it went well. So I applied for Koonyesha.
Talk to us about what we're seeing here.
Now this is Esther's work.
Is it? Our Watuka, Once Upon a Time. That's interesting. Okay, all right, please continue.
Yes, so as time went on, I applied for Koonyesha Art Fund. And I dared myself. I've been researching about this whole colorism issue, and it's derived from mostly the fact that I come from a family where I have a sister who's a darker complexion than me.
So the conversation of darkness comes up again.
Yes, it comes up again. So I was looking for a way of how to express this through movement. But now remember, this was COVID. People can't come to the theater to watch. It's like, now I experimented with Ascension and Nambi. What about if I shoot something? I've been rehearsing and creating this piece, but I can't perform it on stage. Why don't I look for a location? And we do it. So I write this proposal. And then we get it. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to experiment. I was so nervous because now I was really doing it seriously. I wasn't using my money, I was using someone else's money. It's like, okay, let's experiment and do this. I worked with Ali Musoke. Again, Ziwa Hakim. I worked with different people, poets, epigraphers. I told them, you know what, we have to bring this out. How am I going to make the skin peel? How am I going to talk about colorism? It's a very sensitive topic, but it's something that needs to be talked about, because it's not only happening in the industry, but also out there. So many girls, mostly females, but also now currently males, are bleaching because of a childhood trauma, to fit into a perfect picture that has been painted by the industry, but also painted by our families, our traditions, our histories, and how people perceive a lighter complexion to a darker complexion.
Because I do know in Congo, by all means, you have to bleach so that you can be able to be eligible for marriage, especially for the ladies.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. It's that bad.
I've been in Goma, and during my research, I was researching this for 2 years. I was in Goma, and it was very evident, and people were very okay with it. I was like, wow, but why do people have to change their complexion just to appease people?
If we can call it that.
It's a stigma. Yeah. It's a very big
So
stigma.
let's just pause it right there. As an artist in your own capacity, with all the evolution that you've had to the work that you're now doing, how has this whole subject of skin color actually affected the work that you're doing?
Now you see I'm of a lighter complexion. Things are not easy. You're given jobs because you're light. People don't think it's because you're creative or because you have knowledge about this. But just be like, you're given work because you have a lighter complexion. It is sad, but it also motivates me to work harder with this and with also the work I put out there to ensure that it's not just because, okay, of course, being beautiful is a compliment,
yeah,
but then that's an additional thing. The most important thing is what do you, when you're creating, what do you put out there? What do you say? What knowledge do you have? What have you added to yourself as an individual besides just looking good?
Okay.
For me, that's my perception.
Okay.
So my challenge has been, people definitely think because you're beautiful, that's why you're getting work. Because you're beautiful, you definitely get in. And it's saddening. People think it's a cool thing, but it's not. It's not.
Okay.
It's not very appeasing.
Esther, you've had this similar experience, the skin complexion dilemma, when you were trying to become of yourself in the film industry. Exactly what are those moments in which it actually appeared straight in your face, and how did it affect your esteem into the industry?
I'll say I have leaned more towards theater than I have towards film, because theater is more accommodating. Mm-hmm. Theater is about what you can bring. You're on stage, you are alone, you're performing. There are no lights and glamour. With film, there's cut, reset, put makeup. So
angles.
Yes, nice angles. What's the best that can make you look good? With theater, you're right there, you're raw, the audience receives you the way you are. Mm-hmm. So I have found myself leaning more towards theater because I will not be judged for not being beautiful enough. Mm-hmm. That
and light-skinned
yes. enough that the camera won't caress my skin as it goes up, you know, because I'm not light-skinned. So I don't regret being dark-skinned. It actually has helped me understand who I am as an artist. So I'm not even here to say, oh, give me work because I'm dark-skinned, or give more dark-skinned girls work. I'm just here to say it has propelled me to make more work so I can cast more dark-skinned women, more dark-skinned.
Because that's actually where I was going. That as a film producer, now you can call the shots yourself.
Yes.
How are you using that particular platform right now to aid eradicate this whole colorism in the industry?
Yeah, every time I write a script, the description is beautiful, dark-skinned woman. That is, and it doesn't mean that if I find a lighter-skinned girl who is amazing and brilliant as an actor that I won't cast her. I will, but I will be looking out for the dark-skinned girl first, because she represents who I am and I relate to her. But it's just what the world is and how we can do our little changes to make the world better.
Okay, all right. Now, speaking of making the world better, especially for women in the film industry, is there a place where you get actually support in regards to stakeholders and like yourself and growing into that which you're envisioning?
By stakeholders, you mean?
Meaning the funders. You're talking about partners in film, because I know film, you have to get equipment from somewhere else. You have talked about working with poets.
Yes.
You've talked about working with different other forms of art to be able to then create what you want to create. Yes.
So basically, in the arts, unfortunately or fortunately, what really helps big projects survive is funding. So you write as many proposals as possible and wait for the luck to get the money. But sometimes you have to do something first. So you have to invest a bit of your time or a bit of your money to start on the project already, so that as it's rolling, people come in between the process and help you roll it to the end or to the finish line, because every time you wait for funding, you never do it. So you have to start something. Okay. You start slowly by slowly, and as time goes on, people who are interested in your idea and in what you're doing will come along the way, and people who have contributors and funders will help you, and that is how it works, or that is how it's working.
Okay, all right. Esther, as a female film producer, what is your vision for the industry in the next 10 years?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that the industry is growing.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of work coming in from different commissioned projects here and there, and I'm grateful to be living in a time like this, that at least when you call people, someone's like, I can't because I'm working. That's a good thing to hear when you see filmmakers are working. I hope that the industry can come alive more. I hope that we can animate more young people, that we can like at least have more people doing film and encouraging them. I know there's little funding, but the little that's coming on now is better than where we were 10 years ago. Okay. So I hope that I can make more films. I hope that I can tell more stories, especially about women, about Africa, about Uganda that the world hasn't seen. Right. I'd like to see our Luombo. I would like to see ATAP on, on some West African TV, you know, the way we see their fufu or something. So to tell more of our stories, I would love to do that.
All right. So for Esther to be able to achieve that, she needs your help. And so we are asking you to actually come and join her for her cause. She's battling with a kidney disease, and she needs a total of $87,000. So far they've collected 11,000. She has a balance of 76,000 US dollars. So every shilling, every cent counts right now for her to be able to achieve and influence this film industry in the next 10 years. We want to see her here. So how can people support you? You have numbers that you can share so people can be able to support you.
Thank you, Priscilla. I would love if the world can send whatever contribution you can to these numbers. 0757 489 459 and 0772 549 540, and the last one is 0782 767177, and every dime matters.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. As she awaits her kidney transplant, we await her to transform the film industry, as we also await Lillian here in Uganda to share more of her art expression, especially through cinematography. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for having joined us, and we are wishing you a blissful Easter weekend as we end our Kickstarter this morning. Coming up is Tech Note.